जय हिंद दोस्तों, मैं हूं मेजर मोहम्मद अली शाह और आज मेरा बहुत बड़ा सौभाग्य है। भाई मैं एक ऐसी शख्सियत के साथ बैठा हूं जिनकी जो तारुफ की मोहताज नहीं है। एंड आई हैव बीन रियली इन ऑफ हर राइट फ्रॉम माय चाइल्डहुड, आई वुड से दैट I finally, what happened when you are of someone, I actually got to meet her very briefly, personally, in the year 2005, in the month of December for the artillery reunion, when General J.J. Singh was the chief of the army staff and Ms. Anupama Singh was the President AWWA, and they were at the Temple Hill Institute of India, the TEDx golf course, and we saw Mr. Anupama Singh hit a long ball, tack, and we were like, wow, what a drive that is. And that was the time I briefly met ma'am, bade dadar ke ma'am mila. And but what a fine couple, what a refined couple, what a sweet lady. In fact, ma'am needs no introduction at all. She is a very fine painter. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, ma'am, the painting behind you has been painted by you, if I am not mistaken, ma'am.
Absolutely, Ali. Jai Hind. Lovely to
Thank
talk
you,
to
ma'am.
you
Thank you,
today. And
ma'am.
it's a great honor and privilege for me to be on your show. You have interviewed such great personalities. So to be counted in one of them, I'm honored.
Ma'am, come on. By you coming in conversation with me, that makes the profile that, okay, I have now actually interviewed some very great personalities. You have contributed to that, ma'am. Thank you very much for that. And ma'am has been the president of our Army Welfare Association, and in fact, she done brilliant work, ma'am. Ma'am, you took over as the president AWWA in the year 2005, and in the year 2006, you launched the website of our website was launched, and you did great work. You always encourage the word of using the word Veer Naris because you have always acknowledged the fact that it is the army wives who stand like a pillar behind the soldiers. In fact, we will come to that, ma'am. But I would like to know how Mrs. Anupama Singh met a strapping, handsome young officer. That time, I presume, not General J.J. Singh, of course, I presume Captain J.J. Singh, perhaps?
He was a captain, yes, which is a very glamorous, uh, rank, I would say.
Ma'am, ma'am. So,
And just to take you through the journey a little bit, uh, I was very um, lucky to hear a young man come to me at the RSI club in Pune in 1970-71 New Year's dance and say, may I have the pleasure of this dance, young lady? And that happened to be Captain J.J. Singh at that time. So, um, yes, the glamour of the army for me was always there, as my father was also in the army and had a great service and great postings. He was mainly a Punjabi writer, and my mother was a Punjabi poet. Both couple were Padma Shris and Sahitya Academy Award winners. So they brought us up with the idea that we must do something creative. And the potential, this talent lies in everyone. It's just that we have to encourage it. And I feel that since I had been brought up, I'd seen my mother to be independent, woman, strong, being able to take her own decisions. I wanted to carry this forward and encourage our young ladies and our wives and families and children, ex-servicemen, with the same principles of life.
ma'am, being a Fauji brat and now being an army wife, did you find any difference in transition, that how different is being a Fauji brat and now being a Fauji wife?
Well, not really, because olive green has always been my color of choice. And I didn't have a difficulty being an army wife. I had a little challenges because I had studied in Paris. I studied art and design. And coming back after being a teenager and getting married to to an infantry officer where discipline and the formalities are very, very important. So every time I asked him, what do I have to wear, he would say, wear a sari. So it became a habit and a pleasure. And today I see that it is women of the Indian Army who are carrying the sari tradition forward. While in other part, in the civilian society, you don't see much of our traditional dress being worn anymore.
Ma'am. Ma'am, so tell us, after as a newly wedded bride coming to the battalion, where at that time Captain J. J. Singh was there, how was the reception on the first day of you entering the battalion, ma'am?
It was just amazing. It was just like entering a family. Everyone was so nice. Jogi was one of the youngest officers, and they just enveloped me in their embrace. And never have I felt that I don't have a family, even though we've stayed away from our parents and our sisters and brothers, but we never felt the lack of that. Of course, they wanted me to sing a song to join the battalion, which I can't sing, but they wouldn't serve the dinner till I sang. So I did sing two lines of this song. Uh, जिस गली में मेरे साजन का घर ना हो उस गली से हमको गुजरना नहीं. So it was tough.
मैम, so you didn't say गाना गाने की बजाय मैं पेंटिंग ड्रॉ करके दिखा देती हूँ यादव.
I said मैं डांस कर लूंगी, but no.
Ma'am, ma'am,
But
you
yes, from there, you see, life. Uh, my mother did warn me in the beginning. She said, "You've fallen in love with an infantry officer. Are you sure you want to marry him? Because life is not going to be like it was with your dad." So I said, "No, no, I'm sure." But reality took a real check very fast, because then we moved to places where we lived in bashas, where we had to put pots, for the rainwater which was seeping into the house, and wildlife surrounding us, and elephants shaking our huts. So, yes, reality set in very fast.
ma'am. Ma'am, and then gradually when General J. J. Singh became a colonel, Colonel J. J. Singh, now he was commanding the battalion. As the CEO's wife, as the tiger's wife, मैम अलग ही रुतबा होता है ना, सीईओ साहब की मेम साहब हैं. So how was it
Only.
when you became a CEO saab's wife at that time, ma'am?
When I got married, my husband told me a few things, and I think it was great that he put me into the picture in such a way that I could understand his vision and his principles in life. And he told me one thing. He said, "For me, the pinnacle of my career would be to be a CO, a commanding officer. And if I achieve that, then I'm very happy. Anything over and above that is a bonus." So over the years, when I became a CEO's wife, I did feel that it was my responsibility, and I had to contribute towards the battalion, and in fact towards the nation, because it is our soldiers who are fighting the wars, and they are on the frontiers, and they sacrifice so much to be there, leaving their families behind to look after uh, their parents, to look after the children, to look after the kheti bari. Most of them are farmers. So I did feel that I must contribute, and that was my ambition as well.
Ma'am,
And
you have
to
seen. Yes, ma'am.
sorry.
No, no, ma'am, please continue, ma'am.
Yeah, and then as a CEO's wife, you have to. In those days, we had to even go ahead and teach Hindi to our ladies, because they only spoke Marathi, being from the Maratha MLI. And then we had to teach them what banking was. We had to teach them or make them aware of what their privileges are, and what their children, what scholarships they can get. And we had to go into their homes actually, and make them aware of cleanliness, and how to cook food without losing vitamins. I mean, today it looks very minor because people are aware of this. But in those days, I'm talking about he was CEO in 81. Uh, and our ladies, I have to say, all our women, all our ladies did their best to make it a family.
Ma'am, ma'am, all the welfare activities you took, you looked after in your battalion as a CEO's wife came handy when you became the president of AWWA of the entire country. In fact, so you had seen life as a CEO Saab's wife, as a brigade commander, as a div commander, as a co-commander at Amikma, and now you were president AWWA, and you brought out a lot of, I mean, good things. You contributed. Your contribution to AWWA is immense. It is actually immense, ma'am. Ma'am, so tell me, when you took over AWWA, how did you feel at that time? Because it was a huge responsibility which was on your shoulders now, looking after the welfare of the entire, as I say, behind every successful man, there's a woman. And and I think the couple, General Jay Singh and you, ma'am, you are the epitome of the same. So how was it when you took over AWWA as the president, ma'am?
It was a long journey to reach the pinnacle, but uh, I always made it a point to be near my husband wherever he was posted. If he was in Kashmir or if he was in Arunachal, I would stay in a place, forsaken place like Dinjan, to be closer to him, so that we could meet at least once in 2 months, or the children would not feel too much the separation from their father. So that was my personal choice. And so going from a CEO's wife where you had a brigade commander's wife, and then so a main thing is to be able to get along into a system, to be able to contribute within that system. And but when he became the chief in 2005, for me, I felt that God had bestowed on me an opportunity to be able to really contribute to the vision that I felt was necessary. And taking over President Awa, I have to say that all the previous presidents had contributed so much, and I was only building up on that. And not only the presidents, but the members of the AWA have contributed so much. So, uh, being, shall I say, a working woman, an independent woman, an artist, I felt that we should have a new vision because life changes, the world is changing, women have different aspirations, they're all so well educated. We cannot and should not curb them, we should let them flourish in their own um, beings as a person and as a professional. So it's not working or not working which matters. It's how much you can contribute and how you can contribute. So even when I got married, I asked my husband, what is it that I have to do? He said, nothing. Your only and one mission in life is to look after the families. How you do it, when you do it, is your choice. So that was a very clear path that he gave me, and I put it forward when I was President Alva. Yeah, if you want me to go over whatever were the projects that we undertook, I mean, there's a whole long list, but I can talk about one or two very, very important projects which I would like to share.
Sure, ma'am. We would love to hear that from you, ma'am.
Okay. So the one was that, having been a teacher, because in many army stations, that was the only work that I could do and contribute. Um, I felt that our schools needed an improvement, our pre primary schools. We were teaching them whatever in all different stations. It was a different syllabus and a curriculum. So I wanted to make a curriculum which is teaches about our heroes, about our martyrs, about all religions. As you know, in the army, we are a secular uh, place. So we requested educationists to help us and the NCRT to help us to come up with a syllabus. And we uh, brought in this pre-primary school education, and we nearly, I think, put 250 schools on that syllabus. We trained 1,800 teachers to teach this new method. We used to have parents come and say, homework नहीं मिलता हमारे बच्चों को, तो ये क्या पढ़ाई है. So then we had camps for the parents to tell them, this is the new method. My grandchildren were going to schools which were just the best. I wanted to give that education to our families. And the aim was that our officers' children would also vie to go to these schools and not to schools outside. And I'm very happy to say that this has continued and it has become really wonderful to see what it is today.
Ma'am, General J.J. Singh and you were invited as the chief guest to my alma mater, to Lawrence School, Lovedale, since in the year 2015. In fact,
Yes.
once again, my wife and I, we met you there at our school and at the Coimbatore airport, in fact, when you were checking in. And
Yeah.
so I'm wearing so today I handed out my school tie of Lawrence School, Lovedale, and my school blazer and my school shirt. I said, let me
What a
not,
lovely school.
thank you very
Lovely
much.
school.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I said, let me not speak to ma'am wearing my Indian Army tie. Let me look for my school tie. And
Oh, wow.
ma'am, ma'am, your contribution to AWWA is actually immense. And ma'am, it does not stop there. You went ahead and you contributed a great deal for the welfare of the society, for people, for wives, for children, not just in the army, in fact, in the country. When you went further as the governor's wife to Arunachal Pradesh, there also your contribution didn't just end at being President Awa and now ex-President Awa. No, you went ahead and people in Arunachal, they swear by General J. Singh's name and your name. Even now, I mean, it has been years since you have moved out from Arunachal. But
Yes.
have you kept in touch, ma'am? Have you kept in with the people in Arunachal, and did you visit the land lately, ma'am?
Of course, it is the most beautiful state of India, and the people are just so simple, so warm, so wonderful. We actually made it our home, and I identified totally with the people. I wore their gales and their outfits and their jewelry, and they always said that, "Ma'am, आप तो हमारा ड्रेस राष्ट्रपति भवन में भी पहनते हैं, हम नहीं पहनते." I said, "Pehno." And yes, I actually wanted to talk about that. In Arunachal, I also started empowerment projects for the women and children, which I did in the army, which was one of the biggest. I think the most successful project was the Ahvan project, where we took a place in Delhi Cant, and we got our ladies, we Naris, ex-servicemen, wives, and all to uh, um, do commercially generate, a project which generates some money. So we taught them candle making, but the best quality, the best block printing, s- uh, paper bag making. I mean, to name a few. But it has gone on to become such a successful um, project that it was basically for women to be have some kind of economic independence. And then in that we started the Ava Lunch project. And today, if you go to South Block, everybody buys the Ava Lunch, which is a small packet. We started actually collecting from home to home so that the ladies could make some money of their own and feel proud of it. So we had other projects. So these, all that I learned as President Ava, I took forward to being a first lady of the state. And of course, it is a very different experience because here in the army, it's a family. It's just a family. And uh, you have grown up in it, and then you go there, and the first few days the ADC comes up to me and he says, ma'am, there's a banquet in the CM's house. Would you like to attend? So I looked at the ADC and I said, are you asking me if I would like to attend? Do I have a choice? He said, yes. I said, well, in the army, we didn't have a choice. Just tell me, do I have to attend or do I don't have to attend?
True. It's a good one. Uh,
So, yeah. But another very, I have to say, a very poignant moment for me was when my husband got wounded in Baramulla in 1991 when the terrorism was at its peak. And of course, I couldn't be there, so I was in Delhi. And I happened to be playing golf in the morning, came back to Pratap Chowk, the separated family accommodation, and I get a call. And the officer says, ma'am, your husband is out of danger. So I said, what? What are you talking about? Then he says, ma'am, if you don't know, I'm not going to tell you. I said, no, I'm sorry. You have to tell me now because I mean, how can I even live with this thought? So then he told me that your husband's got wounded and he's been evacuated to Srinagar. Then I wanted to go to the hospital. He was in the hospital. Um, there was no way I could reach. And I called up all the generals that I knew and I said, please, can you help me go there? I can pay for my ticket, but I want to be there. They said, ma'am, it's so difficult to get from the airport to the hospital. So, but finally they gave me security and I reached, and yes, he was dying to get back uh, to the field because they had said General JJ to Allah ko pyare ho gaye abhi, and he wanted to show his face and say, no, no, I'm still alive. So we have passed through a lot of difficult moments, but never ever would I change this life for anything else.
Ma'am, General Jay Singh was, in fact, I was fortunate to attend his book launch at the Imperial Hotel, and I mean, in the and that's the time he even narrated this incident about 991 Baramulla when he got wounded, and first thing he checked, oh God, I've been shot, and when he checked, okay, and I love his sense of humor when General Jay Singh said, first thing when I was shot, I checked, okay, my vitals are fine, okay, now I have to go, I have to take action, now I have to give pass orders, now I have to do this.
Yeah, that's true.
Ma'am,
That is.
ma'am.
Uh,
And
so I think the women also have to become very brave. Whenever I spoke to the ladies, I would, in my speeches, I would tell them, that you get no medals, but you're as deserving of the medals because without your support, our brave soldiers would not be doing what they are doing. So I always feel that we have to give uh, the respect to our women and our ladies and our children who go through so much of challenges. So,
ma'am,
so
ma'am, you spoke about the people who told you that अब हमारी ड्रेस तो आप राष्ट्रपति भवन में ही पहनती हैं. Ma'am, General Jay Singh was very proudly, in fact, you were very proudly wearing the nationally dress during the book launch I saw at the Imperial Hotel. In fact, in the year 2008, I was very, very fortunate you had come for our wedding, for my wife and my wedding. In fact, तब भी
yes,
तब भी अरुणाचल का attire, the traditional
the-
dress. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, General Jay Singh was wearing the Apatami jacket at that time from the Apatami tribes.
yes, yes,
Uh, uh,
that is true. I'd
uh,
also like to share with you that over the years, we got married early and our children grew up and were got married as well. We still had, we wanted to give back to the nation somehow. So we fostered two boys, young boys. They came to me when they were 7 years old. One is Kuljit. Today he is a major in my husband's battalion. He is from Kashmir, Kishtwar district. And he was one of the smallest child of a very underprivileged family. So I brought him up. He was really the sweetest child, and but he was a terrorism affected child. So it took a lot for him to get, and our emotional support to him for him to come out of that and go to the army public school. And people used to say, "Oh, the chief has married. He's got small children who are in the army public school." They little realizing they are foster kids, and so today he's joined. He's a major, and we are very proud that he's joined my husband's battalion, 9 Marathas, which he commanded. And the other young boy is from Nagaland, James. We got him from the orphanage in Kohima, and he's been with us since he was 7 years old. He also joined Assam Rifles as a soldier, and today he's an entrepreneur in Nagaland.
Oh wow, ma'am! I have beautiful memory of Nagaland, ma'am. In fact, once again, we had met when I was ADC to GOC 3 Corps. That time, General Jay Singh and you had come over to Nagaland, and
Oh
I
wow!
have, in fact, I speak fluent Nagamese, ma'am. The way I speak English or Hindi, so I would love to speak to
Really?
James. Yes, yes, ma'am. The way. You are too good in French, in Punjabi, in Hindi, in Urdu, in English. But मैं थोड़ी बहुत I try to speak a bit in Nagamese और मैंने काफी सीखी मैंने. I've had two tenures. One with the Assam
Oh,
Rifles, the other was with the as ADC. So,
wonderful.
of course, ma'am.
Yeah,
So,
it's always great to know another language, I think. And we've always encouraged our children and everyone I meet that they must learn one language. It could be anything, it could be Nagamese as you speak, or Tamil, or Urdu, or Chinese, but a language, extra language, always gives you one plus point.
ma'am,
Yeah.
let's talk about your creative aspect. Were you always interested in painting as a child, as a young girl, always making sketches? How was it? How did your interest in sketching and painting and come up, ma'am?
Well, yeah, it's been always since I remember, since I was a child. My parents used to buy me good colors and paper. When they traveled to China, they would bring those watercolor brushes, and they encouraged us a lot. My sister was a writer, and I, I of course felt there was too much competition in writing with my parents, so I thought better to become an artist, and. I was lucky that I was in Paris at a young age, as a teenager, where I got the chance to study art in the best schools in France, Beaux-Arts and Académie Julian. And I also did the École Supérieure of Applied Arts. So I did design, and so actually I've been doing two things consecutively. One is my painting, which is fine arts, and the other one is designing product. And I've been very lucky because I've done a lot of projects for the Ministry of Textiles and in remote areas. So one of them I must recount to you. I got the opportunity to go to JNK to do a project on papier mache. The main aim is to give the artisans a new vision on design, so that they move from they have a traditional karigari, but they have to do something which is more globally accepted, color wise and form wise. So I had this project, and my husband said, can't go to, he was army commander, art track. He says, if you go as a general's wife, there people, if they abduct you, what's going to happen? So I said, I'm not telling anyone who I am. And uh, so I went, and we stayed on a houseboat, all the designers. And it was really interesting because they would talk about the army. So I told my husband, you can make me a spy. I can get out. But yeah, it
Yeah.
was wonderful. These experiences of going to remote areas in India. And my daughter is, we have two children, and my daughter is carrying forward this tradition. She is doing sustainable materials, working with karigars, new handloom designs in jamdani or the other sustainable materials. She has a clothing brand of her own. So I could only teach my children what I knew since I was not good in maths or science. Even my son is very artistically inclined. He is in Paris. He lives in Normandy. He did his senior studies he did a master's in France and got married to a lovely French girl. So, a lot of international exposure also helps you realize the value of your own traditions, I think.
Ma'am,
So,
ma'am, you must say hello to him, and I'm saying, I'm asking if he's watching us. Kowatalevu, bonjour, and ma'am, this
and
is
his daughter, one of his
this is a very
daughters
interesting
is,
comment for you. So wonderful to hear you, Mrs. JJ Singh.
thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you so much. Lovely talking to you. Thank you very
Ma'am,
much.
ma'am, and no, this is the comment I was reading out, ma'am, which a comment had come for you. Ma'am, let's talk about your aspect as a sports person. You know, you are an avid golfer. You have inspired so many people to pick up golf. In fact, my mother personally, I've seen it happen. She is so inspired by the very fact that Mrs. J.J. Singh plays such good golf and Mrs. Anupama Singh plays amazing. She hits a. Ma'am, I've seen you hit a very long ball. And officers couldn't hit that long, and you were there, and he said, "Oh, where's the ball?"
Uh,
So let's talk about
golf is, yeah,
it. Yeah. Let's talk about
actually.
your. And then another very interesting comment for you. There are a lot of comments. I unfortunately would not be able to highlight all, but Mini Chopra Chaudhary writes, "Wonderful person, which you are, ma'am. There's no denying that. There's no doubt about it."
Yeah.
And I must share this, ma'am. I have to take this opportunity to tell you that you are definitely one of the most elegant and graceful ladies I have ever come across in my life. And you look the same as what I saw you way back first, almost 2 decades ago. Honestly, ma'am. Ma'am, okay,
Ali,
let's talk.
you're a real charmer. But yes, I have to tell you that your lovely mother, Hiba, she wrote an article in one of our journals about golf, where she has written golf widows, nay, merry wives. And I remember that because of course, golf is a passion, and I think it's such a great game. And I'm so lucky that my husband encouraged me to play it. We used to have a lot of fights over his going for golf and leaving me alone. But then we had a deal. So we said, okay, bridge and golf, these two games. So bridge he'll keep for his field areas, and golf I must learn. So that's how I started playing. And it's been a great journey because we saw very few women on the golf course. Firstly, was a very expensive game. And then for women to take out time from the home and children was not easy. And I really encouraged a lot of young girls and ladies to play this game. And luckily, my husband was in places where there were lovely golf courses, so we made the ladies' tees and we got ladies to play. And then joined up with IGU, which the Indian Golf Union. I, in fact, was the chairperson also of the IGU. So it took a lot of my husband started this Mission Olympics, Catch Them Young program. So golf was one of those sports, and we are very proud to say that today we have Diksha Dagar, and we have so many other young Bakshi sisters and young boys who are representing our country at the Olympic level. So it has taken many years, and today our Army Open Women's Army Open starts, which is the 15th edition. So I started it 15 years back. So really, really proud of our young girls and women and ladies and boys who have taken to golf in such a big way.
Wow.
So
And then another comment comes your way. Millie Chaudhary writes, recently met her at an art exhibition, and there she was, winning everyone's heart, and with her charm, grace, and humility. There you are, ma'am. There's not. I'm not saying this. This is a comment from a person who's watching us, ma'am.
Thank
Ma'am,
you so much.
ma'am.
And yes, I've also been running a design studio for many years. For 25 years, I worked in Muradabad, I worked in Jodhpur, and it's amazing to see how much India is doing now and has been doing. It's just that we have to channelize it and make it into a movement. It has to be a brand, and I think the Ministry of Textiles has done a lot of work, and the handicraft fair. My son is also in this field of handicrafts and furniture. So, he's a consultant, and I wanted to mention he's the first Sardar to be elected in France, and he wears a turban.
Wow, 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 ma'am. Wow, wow, wow,
The-
wow, wow.
So we are proud. Our children both went to Kendriya Vidyalayas, and because we felt that it was easier from posting to move them. And I thought the education was very good because they were in touch with the reality of India. And in
Yes.
fact, since I had studied in convents, I didn't know Indian mythology so well. So when my daughter would come home, I would ask her, "What did you study today? Tell me the stories." So I actually learned from my children a lot.
Wow, ma'am. Wow, ma'am. Ma'am, you are really amazing, ma'am. You are really amazing. Recently, just about 4 5 days back, we were at the NDTV's event. Ma'am,
Yeah.
there was PV Sindhu, there were a lot of other people, there were youngsters. Ma'am, everyone's eyes was on, and I'm
Oh,
not being this charmer right now. I WhatsApped you that immediately. I said, "Oh, ma'am, you were like, ma'am, you were the, I mean, everybody was saying, ma'am, you, no doubt. And I'm not just saying it, everyone who was there present at that event, this, the grace of General J. Singh and you, ma'am, I mean, it is unmatched completely. The aura, the character's unmatched, ma'am. Ma'am, wow. Ma'am, there is an amazing comment. I got to highlight this, ma'am, from Mrs. Ranjana Malik. He's
oh,
such a charming, multi-talent person, brilliant in every sphere. I am a fan of hers. Wish her all the best. Always, Ranjana Malik. Wow,
no.
that's Captain
Thank you
Ranjana
so
Malik.
much. I mean, I have learned a lot from Mrs. Malik, and I have to thank her for that. I did want to share another beautiful, opportunity that I had was to take a lot of our ladies to the Rashtrapati Bhavan, where President Abdul APJ Kalam had uh, given an audience and had spoken to our ladies, and he gave us a pledge. And when I spoke to him on a personal level that what we are doing in Ava, I mean, he was a great man, and he told me, he said, you're not doing anything till your Jawan's children become officers. And that would be the real welfare. And yes, I I took that as my pledge and we tried. And today we are really, it's a great day because we see so much of that happening. And also culturally, we had Amjad Ali Khan as our brand ambassador. Then we had Vadali Brothers and Ravi Shegre program where the president and the defense minister had graced the occasion. Yeah, every day there was something we had to do, and all our members, all our members contributed. So, to give them some kind of recognition, we started the AWWA Awards of Excellence.
Oh,
And
yes, ma'am. In 2006, it was started, if I'm not mistaken. In
yes, yes.
2006. Yes, ma'am.
And it is continuing till today. So I think if something continues, there must be something okay about it. It's something good about it.
Ma'am.
And yeah, so we had great days. And I forgot to mention the Fauji Mela that we had in Delhi Hut. I
Of
spoke to
course, of
Sheila
course.
Dixit ji and I told her I want to have a 4G Mela to give a platform to our ladies to showcase their talent and to expose and to sell, and all the commands and all the corps and all the units would send something whatever they were doing. She said, I can't give you the whole of Diliyar, I'll give you a portion. I said, no, if you really want us, give us the whole. So my husband was really mad at me. He says, for 2 weeks, none of us will get any sleep because of security problems. But what a fantastic show that was. Each
Yeah,
and every lady was manning the stalls. We had no one from outside. It was just an army mela. It was, and many of those women who showcase their works are today entrepreneurs in their own rights, big business women. They got a platform. So I think we need to encourage that.
absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. This is, but the best is, the icing on the cake is from a comment from one another ex-president AWWA,
Yeah.
Mrs. Dr. Captain Ranjana Malik, to another ex-president AWWA. That is super, ma'am. So nice to see
In
that.
fact, I saw her beautiful interview with you, and
Okay, all right.
and she's
Thank you,
always wonderful and always encouraging. And I'm her fan actually.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We all are, ma'am. We all are fans of. In fact, both of you. In fact, ma'am, you are like really. I mean, I tell you. In fact, for viewers who are watching and who are seeing Ms. Ranjana Malik's comment over there. Ms. Ranjana Malik is the wife of General VP Malik, and of course, her son is a serving brigadier right now in the army, and her contribution also to AWA is immense. And I've had the honor of being in a similar conversation with Dr. Ranjana Malik. And when I was like really over that, she was a captain in the army
Yeah.
also, ma'am. Ma'am,
Our son
and
always wanted to join the army, but then, he was not there at the right time. But he's a great adventurous. And our daughter, too, she was always very keen to, but she had this passion for uh, fashion. And I think she's, doing extremely well. She's been invited for the Paris Fashion Week and so many other, and she has her own brand, Urvashi Kaur Designs. So,
ma'am,
yes, we taught our children to stand on their own feet and be hard and strong. Our daughter used to, I'm talking about 91, she would drive the scooter and go to work and even come back at 11 o'clock all alone. My husband wasn't there. So my husband would say, what are you doing? How come your daughter is not home yet? I said, no, she's working. And you don't worry, you relax. So,
ma'am. There's a beautiful comment coming your way from Gulshan Marwa. My dear Rohini, I did not know this was your pet name. Now I got it,
pet.
ma'am. Okay. You are an inspiration and model of the family, most dynamic and beautiful personality, so caring, lot of laugh to my sis. What a
So sweet.
touching comment that is. You're getting a lot of comments one after the other. Unfortunately, I would not be able to highlight all, so I'm just highlighting a few of them.
Yeah.
Ma'am, ma'am, it's been so wonderful, ma'am, being in conversation with you. Really, ma'am. बहुत मजा आया वाकई में.
Uh,
And before I let you go, ma'am, for the day, I've taken a lot of your time. Any last message you would like to give to our viewers on this online who are watching us, who are getting inspired by you, who admire you? आपके बहुत से चाहने वाले हैं, मैम. मुझ जैसे बहुत हैं इस दुनिया में. So, any message you would like to convey to any of them, ma'am?
I, I just feel that one has to be true to oneself and one has to follow one's dreams. And you can always achieve that if you work towards it. And being from the army family, I would really say that it's been the best thing that could have happened to me to marry a young captain and have no desire or vision to be the chief's wife and do whatever we had to do at that moment, in the present moment, and give our best at that time. So, people try. My husband never tried for or asked anyone for any posting. He said, "जो होता है वो भगवान जो उसकी मर्जी है, that is we will follow." So he never tried for his postings here there. We were lucky to be in Algiers. He was a military attaché, and as the chief's wife, he never gave me any vehicle if it was not an army program. So I used to go to work, and I had two security guards. So I called up my husband and said, "What do I do with these security guards?" He says, "Make them sit at the back and you drive to your work." So that's how I used to go. I had them sitting at the back and I would drive. So they had a good time because ma'am was driving them. So I think, to be honest, in whatever you do is the most important thing.
Ma'am, thank you very much. Another comment coming for you from Madhu Jha, who writes, such a fantastic chat. Keep going. Thank you, Madhu Jha, for this wonderful comment. Ma'am, really grateful to you. Thank you very much for taking out time, ma'am. I really enjoyed every bit of being in conversation with you, ma'am. Mada aa gaya, ma'am. Thank you very much for making
Thank
my
you,
day.
Ali. And one more thing I wanted to say, when I see the young girls of today, I really admire them. Yesterday, we had our, introduction to the Army Open, which starts today. And the exuberance, the josh that they have, and the confidence, salute to the younger generation.
Thank you, ma'am. And
Thank
I would just want to read out a last comment as well, just come out by Devinder Marwa, ma'am. So lovely, dear Rohini Bhabi. We are proud of you. You are an inspiration and a role model. Best wishes always. Lots of love.
thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Take care, ma'am. My regards to the
Thank
general.
you, Ali.
Jai
Thank you
Hind,
very
ma'am.
much.
Jai Hind.